Hello, this tune is called Ces Heures là, which I guess means that time or those hours then. It's by Denecheau again, and I found it by looking on YouTube, and there's a button accordion player called Alessandro, and he plays it really nicely. And I don't know how much of the arrangement is his rather than the original, but it's this is a transcription more or less of what he's playing, but transcribed as well as I can for a piano accordion. The reason I like it, it's got lots of really crunchy chords in it. It's got seventh chords. Now the sort of seventh chords we're used to playing on a piano accordion is this sort of, if we're thinking C major minor, this seventh chord, that's a major chord with a flattened seventh, and that isn't the chord we're using for this piece. That would be the same here as, that's that sort of dominant seventh effect. These are major seventh chords, so it's still a major chord but with a major seventh. That's a C major seven, and that's an F major seven, and they're really nice, and I've had to work out a way of playing them with the left hand. But we'll start with the tune. The tune's in four main sections, and although it's quite simple, there's quite a lot of decoration in the way that Alessandro plays it. So it starts off with an F major chord, but it starts on an A here. This is the tune. Then there's three notes walking up to the next repeat of that. Then back to the A. And this time he puts a little twiddle in. So instead of going straight to the E, he plays E, G, E. And then walks three notes into the C. That's nice enough just on its own. So I'll play that once more. It starts on A. The next section is really nice because it starts to play some of the harmonies in the right hand as well as the tune. So the first bar has a little, it's basically B, C, but it's got a little extra D in there, just touched. It's just those little things are the ones that make this piece really nice. And underneath that, he's got A, E, A, E. And it's up to you whether you hold them on or play them separately. Or that's the first bar of the next section. And again, the next bar is quite simple. But he puts a little touch on a B in there before the C. And then puts an extra twiddle here up to an E. That's just E, D, E, D, E, D. It's over the tune. That's what makes this so nice. And next bit is again very simple. Basically it is just but he holds on to some notes in the first bar of that, and then a twiddle, and then a faster twiddle, and then a couple of harmony notes. Then repeats again. Here I'm going to play the left hand bass note as well, because we've got the chord in the right hand. That's E, A and C together, and with the F, that gives us the F in the bass in the left hand, that gives us a really nice harmony. Then we do exactly the same thing on C, so we slide down to E, G, B, which is an E minor chord, but when we play a C in the bass, it puts together a C major 7 chord. So it's combining two chords effectively. So those two bars are almost out of context because they're just harmonies. Then he finishes off the tune. That's the basic tune. Starts on F. But he puts in a little F before the top D, and then he puts in some harmonies as well, so it actually sounds like this. Here's the F, and again, if you want, it's how crunchy you want it, whether you leave the B sounding. So that's the second section. Third section is a slightly different character. It's the same rhythm every bar, and it just walks down the sequence. We start with a single note, and then thirds. So, and then we repeat that. Do it down a note, starting on a G. Down a note. And down a note. And what makes that section nice, again, is that it looks like where that C and E, we might expect it to be a C chord, but it's actually got an F against it. And again, that one there is a C major 7 chord, lovely. Then a straightforward D minor. And a C. So that section plays twice. The next bit is quite fiddly. He starts with a little twiddle from the C, E, C, and basically it's all in triplets from now. So lots of E's and F's, but it's 3-note patterns, and then walking down the scale with it. C, A, C, but then E, F, E, F. Although the E, F's are pairs of notes, they're alternates, so it's accent on the E, F, E, accent on the F, E, F. So from the beginning of that bar. Then we do exactly the same thing, one note lower, that's called a sequence. It's not quite exactly the same thing as it, but... Then we do the same thing that we've just done, down a note again. Now we walk up. That last pattern is repeated. And then it's basically a C major 7 chord in the tune. Let's play that again, that from the top G. I'll play the whole of that passage again from the beginning of the C, E, C. slightly different. I'll play it once through for the second time, as it were. This is all the same. And it starts to change here. This is still the same, but this comes down. C. Now this is the only thing that I think is slightly cheesy in the arrangement. There is a bottom B, so we get a really chunky C major 7th chord. So that last bit is. I think it's because it's the tune to Misty that I think is comes to mind. So I might choose to leave it out that B. Play a straight C major arpeggio, but it's up to you. The original's in the music that I've printed. Then we go back to what is the second section, but I'll play it again now because it's slightly different at the end. It's the second section. So it starts on a B. Something extra. If you can, leave the G and the B sounding. We've got duplets, which means slightly slower quavers, and it just walks up and down from the C. Yeah, you're going to have to use your thumb and your first finger, the thumb and your index finger, because if you're holding on the B. And then we get the repeat as it is in the original version, the first time. And we get those two chords. And this is still the same. And again, I think at the end he puts the bottom B in. Which is the only thing I don't like. So that's the tune, and it's really beautiful, especially the way he plays it. There's something about the sound of a button accordion box. If we start to look at the left hand, let me zoom in a little. Now, it's quite important to try and work out these chords because they give the flavour to the whole piece. I'll try and keep it in the camera. So we need an F bass, which is next to the C, and we need an F major. But that's just going to give us a straight F major chord. And what we want that F major 7 chord. Now, not being a real accordion player, I'm sure there's a better way of doing it, but the cheapest way I've found of doing it is if you play a C major chord, so that's your C bass button, and the C major behind that, so you want the F bass button, but with a C major chord. Now strictly speaking, that isn't an entire F major 7 chord, but when we add the A from the tune, that gives us an F, it's actually an F major 9 chord, if you really want to know. And what I do to add even more spice is I put the F chord in afterwards, so it goes F bass, C chord, F chord, and I let them blur into each other, so it's not part, it's, and I'm really lazy about taking them off. So they blur into each other, and that sounds quite nice. And you do the same thing on C, so it's C, but then with a G major chord onto a C major chord. So it's C bass, G major chord, C major chord, blurring. So if I go from the beginning. think that's really sweet. And then after that, it's quite straightforward chord. So it's D minor. I'm not going pa, I'm just playing the bass in the chord. G major chord coming up, which is down a note from D minor. Actually, what I probably do is I go G major, G7. So it's G bass, G major, G7. Because it just makes it sound like a walking bass rather than an pa. So from the D minor, it would be. C. And it's up to you, you can play a straight C or you can put another one of those C, F, C's in. And then the right hand walks up. It's just another C chord. You can do what you like. You can either play a G bass, and so it's, you can do the alternate bass, or you can do the same thing twice. So, as that's so important, I'll play it from the beginning. I realise this is going to be long-winded, but it's worth it. I think F, the first chord. And that's with the C and the F chords. F bass, C chord, F chord. You get two of those. So I'll do the same thing on C. D minor. G, chord, 7th. C. Then it happens again. D minor, G, C, and you can end on G. Under the next section, we've got a lot of the funky harmonies happening in the right hand, so we can be much more straightforward in the left hand. So it's going to be F and then chord, C, but within the F chord. So it's this is the pa, slightly longer notes. So this is the more conventional style of playing. D minor, into then G, and then C, and you don't need much action here because the right hand's doing it. So that can be just the chord C. Then we do it again. F, chord, then change the bass note, but still an F chord. Then C, G, then C chord. Here you just want the F bass note because the right hand's doing the, so it's just an F bass note, a C bass note, above D minor, above D minor, above G, above C. You can either hold the C or play. Here again it's very straightforward. It's F. This is, in fact, it's pretty much what we've just done. Let's see. And that repeats. Again, I wouldn't make it too jerky, although this is slightly more lively in the right hand. So it's up to you quite how short you play the left hand notes, but they don't need to be as short. And then in the section that plays, it's exactly the same in the left hand. It's nice and easy in the left hand. C, D minor, G, C. And you don't have to do much in that C because this is where the right hand's going. So the right hand's doing all the work here. That repeats that section, so it's F, C, D minor, G, C. Then we go back to this, then the section that goes, so it's nice and simple left hand. C. single note C, D minor, G, C. And obviously that was all very driven tempo-wise, it's very gentle. So as I say, many thanks to Alessandro for posting that 5 years ago, I think, and it's a really lovely tune by Denecheau. Again, I don't know how much of the tune is Alessandro's own workings out or compared to Denecheau, but it's really gentle. I hope that's some use.